For obvious reasons, no one can find a good comparison for Victor Wembanyama, so he gave it his best shot.
Do you have a favorite player or players that you watch and say, I want to be like that, or I want to add some of the stuff to my game?
So I want to be like no one else, but the players I look up the most to are Giannis and KD.
While it's not perfect, Giannis does feel like the only player with a somewhat comparable speed and length combination. But what does he think of Victor?
And I had the chance to watch him play 2021. My little brother Kostas played in Nashville, and they were teammates. He's incredible, man. Like, I believe in 2045, everybody is going to look like Victor. But the way his skills, the way he can shoot the ball, the way he can move, he's extremely fast for his size, can block shot, can be a threat at the offensive end. He's unbelievable.
Giannis' career actually provides a lot of valuable context when evaluating the potential of Wembanyama. Despite limited production and undeveloped skills, he was still regarded as a top prospect in that 2013 draft. What caught the attention of scouts was his exceptional combination of height at 6'9", wingspan at over 7 feet, paired with excellent coordination. But when he entered the league, he was physically frail. It took a remarkable transformation to become one of the most physically dominant players in the league today. It's also important to note that his play style has evolved significantly since his rookie days. Initially, he showcased this intriguing point forward skill set. Although that didn't reach the anticipated levels, once those skills were comboed with an elite physical profile, he quickly became one of the best power forwards to play the game. This is why comparing Wemby to Giannis is so interesting. Wemby possesses this highly refined skill set at just 19 years old. Because of this, it's easy to overlook how early he is in his development, a treatment that isn't given to the other prospects at the top of the draft. His skills and physique are not yet at their peak. Coming into the league, they weren't even close for Giannis. But it's his development that really makes you think about what the future just might hold for Wembanyama. Giannis also raised another crucial point.
For him, the key is to just keep getting better, keep staying humble, and stay healthy.
Injuries are challenging to predict, but there is valid concern due to his physique. To surpass his current level, he will need to avoid serious injuries, probably entirely. One of the consistent factors amongst all the players who have experienced significant development is their ability to maintain good health. When players don't have to waste time rehabbing injuries, they can focus on elevating their game rather than just merely returning to their pre-injury state. We can only hope that Wembanyama doesn't become a victim of unfulfilled potential. The second half of his self-comparison, Kevin Durant, revolutionized the game when he came to the league in 2008. Wembanyama is looking to take that to new heights. No pun intended.
The evolution of the game is taking us this far. You know what I'm saying? We got 7'5" dudes, they would do everything on the court, you know. So he's inspiring to a lot of people out here. I heard a comment saying, like, somebody compared him a few players in the league. He was like, I think I'll do myself this service if I compared myself to one or two players. He want to take it from everybody. I think that was such a profound statement, and made me a big fan of you. So the league's looking in trouble when he comes in. I want to see how it plays out. And, everybody's been excited for his arrival to the league, so we'll see what happens.
When envisioning Wembanyama's potential, Kevin Durant's game is perhaps where we see a significant amount of the upside. Durant's ability to handle the ball and shoot quite literally everywhere on the court is well known. However, it remains unclear how Wembanyama's game will develop in terms of becoming a consistent shot creator. Durant's size and his release point have rendered his shot virtually unguardable. Wembanyama has the opportunity to completely change the meaning of that word. But because of his crazy size, we still see him living down low a lot of the time. Is there a future where he can be this high volume shot creator out on the wing? Literally, not positionally. That remains to be seen, but again, it's probably where a lot of the offensive upside lies. Everyone wants to talk about the three-point shooting. Well, the best shooter the game has ever seen gave his 2 cents.
Have you had a chance to watch Victor Wembanyama play yet?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the game the other day. Yeah, he's like the 2K creative player. Every point guard that wants to be 7 foot, cheat code type vibes, but he's a solid talent. It's great to watch. They had a pretty entertaining game with the Ignite team, so it's dope.
This is really an intriguing topic for those that have played 2K over the years. Unless you plan on playing against the computer, even during the cheesiest years of 2K, creating a Victor Wembanyama build was just not feasible. It would have been too unfair, which just goes to show you how insane of a prospect we're dealing with. Out of curiosity, I wanted to explore how closely one could get to a Wemby build on 2K. And apparently, if you want to build with his height, you top out at 29 speed, 44 acceleration, and 51 ball handling. Some out there are bold enough to claim that Wembanyama is the best prospect the NBA has ever seen. Without injury risk, I think there's a legit path to that conclusion, but for those that aren't willing to go that far, he is widely considered the best prospect since LeBron James.
Were you able to catch Victor Wembanyama last night?
I did.
What do we think there? Is he telling the truth? But go on.
What did you think of him? And also, not just on the court, but you at one point were, the it guy coming into the draft. Like, I wonder if you could share a little bit about what it's like to be in that position, if you can think back that far.
What do I think of him? I think probably the same as everybody else think. Everybody, we've been labeling like this unicorn thing. Everybody's been a unicorn over the last few years, but he's more like an alien. I've never seen, no one has ever seen anyone as tall as he is, but as fluid and as graceful he is out on the floor. That's 7'4" or 7'5" or 7'3", whatever the case may be. His ability to put the ball on the floor, shoot step-back jumpers out of the post, step-back threes, catch and shoot threes, block shots. He's for sure a generational talent, and hopefully he continues to stay healthy. That's what's most important for him personally. But you could tell he loves the game. He was smiling a lot while playing the game last night. I think it was the two best players in the draft on the floor last night. They both did their thing, and it was. But he's a big-time player, and Scooter's a big-time player as well. For me, what I went through, I thank God I didn't have social media. That's all I can say. I can't imagine what my life how it would have been different, or what would have transpired with me with social media. But I'm happy I didn't have social media, and I'm happy I was from a small town of Akron, Ohio. It definitely just kept me in the bunker and kept me locked in on what the task at hand as a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. It made me locked in.
He brings up an aspect that's often overlooked, the impact of this immense hype and attention. Remarkably, LeBron has managed to steer clear of any major controversies or off-court distractions. The same cannot be said for everyone in a similar position. Wembanyama has been under the spotlight for a considerable duration, and this is further magnified in today's social media dominated landscape. Seeing him reach this point with everyone that's come across him only speaking positively about him is extremely promising.
Tough is it to not get caught up in all the hoopla? People rave about where you are and what you're going to be moving forward. How tough is it for you to concentrate on continuing to improve?
It's not hard at all, because I got great people around me, and I don't know, I'm just doing my thing. I don't really care about all this social media stuff. Or, of course, I get my friends and all sent me some stuff, some posts, and I see some things, but I don't really care about it.
Most are excited about his arrival. Damian Lillard seems a little bit nervous.
I've only seen clips of him, but what is he, 7'4"?
Yeah.
He's generational. I ain't never seen nothing like it. I think you've seen guys that are either that height, that are shot blockers, and can't really move well, but he's moving like a wing. And 7'4", he's blocking shots. He's pull-up jumpers, fadeaway jumpers from three. Got a fluid shooting motion he can handle. I'm happy that I'm not going to be in the league a long time with that.
Some just don't seem fully convinced.
He has that height and everything. He could shoot, he could dribble and stuff. I want to see him when he gets in the league. I think with some right training, he could put some muscle on and stuff that could help him a lot.
But I think he's going to be good. It's just, he's just such a unicorn. Like,
yeah.
You
ain't never seen something like that.
Someone at his size.
7'4".
I just don't know because he's not big enough to bang on the block.
But then he's like, he could shoot.
He could shoot, but then he's gonna have the Pat Bevs who's gonna love to get a turn.
I told him
to guard his ass.
I told Rudy, funny enough, I said, what happens when he likes to dribble up and down the court? What happens if a Paul George is on him full court? What's your game plan for that thing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Paul George and you got someone like me running up with him full court. What is that gonna look like?
Right.
While it's highly unlikely that anyone is genuinely intimidated by Karl Anthony Towns pressuring them full court, their concerns do raise a good question about the effectiveness of his ball handling skills against NBA defenders, particularly pesky ones like the mentioned Patrick Beverley. This aspect will be interesting to see unfold. It kind of ties back to our earlier comparison with Kevin Durant. We anticipate that his ability in the open court will be exceptional. We anticipate that his ball handling in brief spurts or favorable matchups will be extremely effective. However, the question remains, can he excel in a more ball-dominant role, especially in a playoff setting? But even with that being a question, the tone of this conversation was weirdly pessimistic, especially with Cat being involved. Even if, hypothetically, his handle doesn't live up to our lofty expectations, it wouldn't change the fact he's one of the greatest prospects the league has ever seen. Even if you strip away most of his offensive contributions, he's still a generational talent. Towns also mentioned speaking with Rudy Gobert. Being from France like Wembanyama, he may have a deeper understanding of him compared to nearly every other player in the league. The two have crossed paths multiple times, their most notable encounter being their viral one-on-one matchup. At the time, the 16-year-old Wembanyama was cooking the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. We even saw Wemby kick a ball at him earlier in the season.
I don't think he was apologizing to us. I think he was apologizing to you for kicking the ball over this direction.
Yeah, he played soccer too, actually.
Then just a couple weeks ago, he handed him the MVP of the French League. They clearly have a solid friendship, and that shows through in Rudy Gobert's high praise for him.
Space the floor, pass. Also wants to play defense. Wants to be a very good defender, and just loves to win. So that's what I really like about him. He's not just there to be cute. He's playing to win, and he's a great kid.
Whether it's Batum, Tony Parker.
As a person, he's great. He's a great human being. He's a great kid, and he's very, very talented. And it's hard to know like how high he can go. And so that's the beauty of it. And that's why I think every GM in the NBA thinks he's going to be number one. Sky is the limit for him. He can do anything he wants.
Every single one of these French players that have crossed paths with him just seem to speak nothing but highly of his character. This just makes it even easier to root for his success. Over the last couple years, Draymond Green has gotten ripped apart on social media for his weird obsession with LeBron James. It even included asking Steve Kerr to go down to Los Angeles in the middle of the season to see him break the scoring record. How fitting that when talking about Wembanyama, he uses it as an opportunity to talk about how great LeBron is.
There has been a lot of talk on is Wemby the best prospect since LeBron. I've saw some people say he's the best prospect ever. Is he the best prospect since LeBron? I think we'd all agree. Is he the best prospect ever? Of course, everyone's going to say that now, but let's not forget how big of a prospect LeBron James was. LeBron James was a phenom from 15 years old. LeBron James was the number one pick as a 15-year-old. I can't quite say Victor Wembanyama was number one pick as a 15-year-old. So although we like to move on fast to the next thing, I'm just not going off the rail and saying he's a better prospect than LeBron. However, he is probably definitely the best prospect since LeBron, and probably the second best prospect ever because LeBron's probably number one. Also, we tend to forget what type of prospect LeBron was because he did the unthinkable. What we thought of him as a prospect, he actually outlived and outdid what we thought of him as a prospect. So it's very easy now in today's day and age to say, oh, he's a better prospect than LeBron because you forget how big of a prospect LeBron was.
I think everyone has to be excited for the first interaction between Wembanyama and Patrick Beverley. Someone that stands at just 6'2" but isn't afraid of any matchup, even if that player is 7'4".
Never seen anything like it. He's like one of those European guys who's just standing in Europe. Like he's coming over here like, yeah, okay, cool. Let me show y'all. Before I hop back on this flight, go back home, let me show y'all what's going on. He gonna be special.
Yeah.
I mean, to catch a DHO from the top of the key with 2 strides, corner 3, like
that's crazy.
That's OD. One of the guys over there, I forgot who said it, told me that worst case scenario, he can be Porzingis. Worst case scenario, like if everything went wrong, he'd be Porzingis.
Are we really sure that's the floor? Maybe if he tears his ACL in both knees twice in 1 year and then loses a finger in a fireworks accident. With the meteoric rise of former player podcasts, we're seeing a lot of NBA legends give their 2 cents. T-Mac and Vince Carter don't seem too sold.
Do you think
he makes a splash in this league like LeBron did?
I mean, it's wait and see game. I don't know. I think we all going to have opinions.
It's all speculation.
Yeah,
right.
we all going to have opinions what we think is going to happen. I don't know. He has a skill set. I do know that. But he is thin. Guards that's 6'8", 6'9", that's strong, get up in him and kind of, rough him up a little bit and control him. We'll see if he has that skill set to really overcome someone that's shorter and stronger than him and quicker than him. We'll see.
Kevin Garnett, on the other hand, didn't shut down the conversation on his podcast about Wembanyama playing the point guard position.
Impressive about his game, though.
He's versatile, bro.
He could put it on the floor.
Bro, he's like
do you start him at the point?
Where you put him at?
That's what was my question. I'm like, man, are you gonna position him at the 3, the 4, or the 5? You know what I mean? That's the question. That's the new question. Normally when those 7-foot guys come in, you automatically put them at the center spot.
I don't know if he can guard, because you got to turn around, you got to guard now. Can you guard a 3? He long as shit. Like, God damn.
The guys from inside the NBA usually have something to say, and as always, Chuck's a hater.
We can't, everybody wants this kid and he look like he's great, but you really can't tell until you get to the NBA.
You think the NBA is physical now?
I think it's going to be more physical than he playing against the Czech Republic. I mean, he's going to be playing against grown men. And he's going to have to guard those guys on the other end also, which is going to bring him into foul trouble. It's not going to be, listen, I've been in the NBA for 40 years. I ain't seen but one guy who didn't go to college, who came in, who was ready, and that's LeBron. Kobe was great. He struggled early. Kevin Garnett was great. He struggled early. Dwight Howard, still struggling in Taiwan. I can't sit here now just because he's killing people over in the Czech Republic that he's going to come over here and dominate. I just don't believe that.
Kenny kept it a little bit more level-headed.
I have a projection of what they could be. His projection is much higher than any college player.
That's fair.
And again, much higher.
But just for the record, I've been right quite a few times, and I've been wrong quite a few times.
I've been more right than wrong.
Well, listen.
I was curious to see Shaq's opinions given their similarities, both coming in as some of the biggest freaks of nature the center position has ever seen. He was absent from the discussion on TNT, but he still managed to get off quite a few Wembanyama opinions.
Guys are not playing down low anymore. Guys are not playing physical anymore. They're switching 1 through 5. He's a pick and pop guy. He can shoot pretty good, and he's tall. He's like a 7'4" Kevin Durant. So I think he can acclimate very, very quickly. And he's with the master. Like having a kid like that go to the system.
Yeah.
That's what I call the Spurs, the system. Having a kid like that go to the system, I think people better watch out. But this was our era, and banging, he'd be chicken noodle soup. Like kind of light, but like I'm watching how these guys play now. Especially like Joel and B. You're 6'11", you're not posting up, you're shooting jumpers, and then you got the nerve to say, me and James can't do it by ourselves. Yeah, because get your big ass down in the paint. If you get your big ass down in the paint, you can do it by yourself. But that's not how people play anymore. So this kid will be fine, and I wish him well.